I would like to congratulate my sister Corey, who has just walked the entire Appalachian Trail. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I stole that. All right, so Corey Lewis, you have done an amazing job. How many miles was it? 2,189 miles?
92.
92. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't want to get the specifics.
Add 3 more, yeah.
Okay. Well, she's here, and I'm going to be asking her 10 questions. 10 questions for Corey Lewis.
Okay.
The first one I want to ask you, when you started this out, it seemed like you just did it. I never really understood the reason why you decided to walk the Appalachian Trail. I would never do this, by the way. I've done a lot of stupid...
So the question is, why are you crazy enough to walk the whole
Yes,
Appalachian Trail?
I have done a lot of crazy things on this show, but I would never do this for this show. I'm going to let you do this for this show. But what was the actual reason? Like, why? And why?
Well, I think growing up in the Appalachians as we did, I was always sort of, as soon as I heard about the Appalachian Trail, I was always sort of entranced by it. And after hiking a short section with my mother-in-law and my husband last year, I was so upset when I had to stop. I was like, I want to keep going. I want to go with these people and hike through the White Mountains. And so when I had the opportunity to do the whole thing, or even just to do half of it, it was like a dream come true to be able to hike every day. And I think also just to prove to myself that I could do it.
Yeah, it sounds very painful to me. It sounds like it would be very hard to do.
It's not many people's dreams, but...
Well, it was your dream. The next question I want to ask you is, what did you have to do? What was all the things you had to do to walk the Appalachian Trail? It seems to me like it would be pretty difficult,
Yeah.
I was reading that book, Bill Bryson's book about a walk in the woods.
Oh, no!
And a lot of people apparently on the Appalachian Trail don't like that book, but it's just like he had to carry this really heavy backpack and he had to go from station to station, and he didn't even complete the trail. That was a book about him failing to do it, and you've succeeded. But like, how did you manage to do it? Prove to the people, show the people that like want to complete the trail, not to be like Bill Bryson. Tell them how you did it.
Okay, well, the secret is that you have to walk every day. Seriously, like, I think the biggest thing is that you just have to get up and walk and do it. So if you think you can do it, go out there and try it. And if you need to stop after a week or after a day or after a month or when you get to the halfway point or whenever, that's enough for you, that's great. But I think just getting out there and walking, and it's going to suck on a lot of days. It's going to rain and you're going to not feel like walking, and your feet are going to hurt, and you're going to really wish that you had a shower or a bed or a meal or maybe just like a guilty TV show that you can watch. But if you just keep walking, you'll get there eventually.
But like, what kind of stuff did you have to carry too? Like, what kind of equipment? How did you know where to stop at like stations? Were there just like, were there just hotels across the walk, like down the trail?
Hotels and Ubers.
Oh, okay.
No, just kidding.
But was there like places for you, like where did you sleep? Did you just sleep in the woods all the time, or was it occasionally you'd get some place to stay?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're interested in doing it, you should definitely research it. But I tried to think about it as like 3 to 5 day little sections. So if you think about going out and backpacking for 3 to 5 days, you start in one town and then maybe you're in the woods for a couple of days and then you end in another town. And if you break it down like that, it becomes really manageable, even though you're doing that back to back to back to back to back for 6 months. But then you're only really carrying enough food for a couple of days, so that makes it a little bit easier to plan. But I think definitely you kind of have to be a little bit more off the cuff.
So like,
you can't plan everything. I knew many people who had like spreadsheets down to like, I'm going to stop in this town, I'm going to stay at this campsite, and they never could stick to them. But it's certainly good to have goals and to kind of have an idea of what's coming up.
So you didn't really like plan the whole thing? Not all of it was hotels.
Planned,
just
you know.
a little bit. You made up most of it.
I'm a planner in every other part of my life, but this was sort of, as you know, because I hadn't even planned really to do the whole thing. I'd only planned to do half. So when I decided to do the whole thing, I was like, well, I guess I'm just like flying by the seat of my pants here, walking by the seat of my pants, just trying to figure it out as I go, and it works out. Yeah. It's better that way, I think.
Yeah, that's what we do on this show. We just basically make it all up as we go along.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have another question here for you. Who were some of the people you got to meet on the Appalachian Trail?
Oh man, there are all types. I think when you're on the fringes of society with these people that all decided to quit their jobs or leave their wives or like, just out of college, no money, you get like just a whole slew of different folks, and I think that's awesome because you get to meet some really interesting characters. I met a guy that his name was nameless, but he looked like Jesus, and he only night hiked, and he carried a bamboo staff with no headlamp. So this guy was out there hiking at night with no headlamp, which is kind of terrifying to run into if you have to pee in the middle of the night. But I met some really cool people. Like I just admire the people so much out there. Some people that like lived out of their vans half the year, or worked as like pizza delivery guys and loved it, and people who dressed up as Santa Claus and climbed to the top of mountains.
What?
Like I have so many different people, and I think that's kind of cool. It's a bunch of people who are really just kind of creating their own lifestyle and their own sort of way of living for themselves, which is neat. They're not necessarily living within the constructs of society.
You also got like a lot of family members to go on the trail with you, mom and dad and me, and I think yes, and he went 20 miles with you, right? 20 miles.
I mean, he might have told you that, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's becoming a bit of a
he
bum
likes to
lately.
Exaggerate things.
He keeps claiming he's the older brother. And I'm pretty sure that was never found out. It was during the hospital.
Yeah,
There's like
I kicked
a lot
his
of
butt.
problems.
I was like...
Well, you kicked both of our butts.
You're better.
If you all didn't know this, we never found out who the older brother was during the pregnancy. Mom claims that it was Gorman, but I don't know. But anyways, let's move on to the next question. Oh, and also the Beneduce family, which I'll just give a shout out to them real quick. Who also hiked on the trail with them. But anyways, moving on. What was some of the wildlife you saw? I didn't even really hear any stuff about this. I didn't know if you ran into any bears.
Beyond the hikers, they were pretty ragged and pretty wild. Well, I saw 23 bear.
23 bear?
I felt pretty good about this. I think
is that like 23 and me bear or what? What? 23 bears?
Bear, yeah.
You saw all at the same time.
Yeah, they were having a party. No, I saw them in different states. Definitely a lot in the Shenandoah Valley. If you're looking for a wildlife nature hike, go there. It's like a zoo. I saw a lot of squirrels that tried to, trip me in the middle of the trail. I saw a lot of bird, like grouse and turkey, and I saw, I probably murdered a lot of newts on the trail, unfortunately. I remember just, hiking really fast one day and looking underfoot and seeing, like, the trail covered in these tiny little orange newts and being like, ooh, I hope that they weren't there the whole time. I'm just kind of barging through here. And yeah, I didn't see a moose, which was probably my biggest regret, unfortunately. And I didn't see a bobcat, but other than that, a lot of the East Coast animals. Had a lot of conversations with bear.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to meet any animals on the trail. I don't
really?
think. Well, what if they attacked me?
An otter.
Yes, an otter. An otter is one of my favorite animals. Not my favorite.
Seth loves otter.
I don't know what I said my favorite one was. I think rabbit or something. I don't know. I think I've said that on the show before. I forget at this point. I think the red panda...
Don't check him on that.
Red panda is the mascot of the show. I like red pandas.
What about a sloth bear?
A sloth bear? That'd be kind of cool. Maybe just a sloth. That'd probably be more accurate animal for this channel at this point. 500 episodes. I'm very tired. 500 episodes. I'm very tired. All right. What was some of your favorite places to hike? I'm sure you saw some beautiful ones.
Yeah, I mean, so the trail was originally envisioned as sort of this retreat for people that lived on the East Coast, because when they were establishing the national park system, a lot of the national parks were out west, like Yosemite and Yellowstone and Glacier, and there weren't a lot of sort of outdoor areas for people that lived on the East Coast in these heavily populated urban areas to experience. So I think it's really cool that the Appalachian Trail originally was envisioned as sort of a place where people on the East Coast could get away and they could go camp and fish and hike and just be in nature. And I think a lot of times we forget that we have these amazing places in our backyard. And yeah, sure, the trail goes through a lot of towns, but some of my favorite places like Tinker Cliffs in Virginia or Grayson Highlands, a park that a lot of people don't know about. This amazing little park. It's a state park in Virginia that has all these wild ponies and these beautiful balds and all these cool rock formations and amazing rhododendron whenever it's blooming. A place that, you know, I never would have thought to go, but was just super magical. Maine is another great place.
Absolutely.
You had a chance to go and visit me there. These perfectly pristine you know, lakes, rolling hills, lots of fishing, lots of cool bugs. So those are probably two of my favorites. I think Maine, it was the last state, so I was on such a high anyways, just be like, oh, I'm finally done. I don't have to hike every day anymore. That, you know, it made it really great for me, and also it wasn't raining, so that was pretty nice too.
So no like favorite place? No favorite place?
I think Maine.
Maine, really?
Yeah, for sure. It was,
wow.
But the first part of it was so hard. It was kind of insane. There's this section called Mahoosic Notch. It's called the best or worst mile of the trail, because it's essentially this kind of cool valley. It's, you know, this notch that's filled with all these big boulders, and when you get there, you're like, what is this? The trail it's going through there, and you see this white blaze ahead on the rocks, and then you literally have to like pick your way. You have to leap from rock to rock. You have to kind of like swing off of tree trunks and crawl under rocks, and there are parts where you feel like you're caving, but eventually you get through it. But it takes people, you know, 2 to 3 hours to get through this single mile of the trail, so it's a tough one.
Wow, I wasn't expecting Maine, honest to God.
Really?
I thought I was thinking like West Virginia or something like that.
No!
Did you hike through West Virginia?
So the West Virginia and Maryland section of the trails were such a letdown, because being from this part of the country, you think, oh my gosh, it's going to be like, I'm used to going to like Swallow Falls and you know, West Virginia has beautiful places in Dolly Sods and the Seneca Rocks, and then you go through the West Virginia and the Maryland sections, and it's like, I don't know, 40 miles, and you're kind of like, well, this is kind of lame. It's beautiful, but you're going past like Hickory Sound. It's not that exciting.
Oh, okay.
I know,
well,
what a bummer. It was my home state, so I
don't think it'd be that fun for me either.
I crossed the Mason-Dixon line. That was cool.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to cut it off there. This episode ran a little long, but if you want to see more of the girl who walked the Appalachian Trail, stay tuned for part 2, which will be coming out this Wednesday. And get ready for the 500th episode of Almost Everything.